Hello again, everyone. I am here to swatch the second half of this box of soft pastels that I purchased from Jackson's. I have part one where I did the first 3 rows here. So that's these 3 rows here. They're not labeled yet, but I plan to do that and then laminate this as my reference. And then I have a blank sheet of paper here where I am going to be doing these next 3 rows. So I will put a link down below to part 1, and that will also kind of explain how I ended up with this lovely box of pastels that will probably last me forever because each of these has a ton of pigment. Yeah, so we'll just go from there. We'll go ahead and start with this green row here. I'm gonna do what I did last time, which is put the box on my lap and then put that there. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit so that you can see each of the swatches. Unison pastels are so lovely, and you can get them individually. I will put a link in the first video and this video to this particular product, but I'm also going to put a link to the general Unison individual pastel link on Jackson's, because then you can, you know, based on what you see here, you can pick certain colors because they are kind of pricey. And like I said, this was sort of my consolation prize for getting COVID, was buying this for myself. Okay, so this one is green 12. And let me actually put the other one here so that I know how big to make my rows, because that worked really well. Green 12. And I'm also going to put that up there so that I know how many to put across. And off to the side, I have a wet paper towel to wipe my hand off in between each of these colors. And I'm also going to tap off the dry dust every so often so that we can kind of keep things clean here. This next one is green 11. Another beautiful green. Green 11. Okay, and then we have green 9. Oh wow, we had definitely had a color shift there to a different kind of green. It's green 9. Okay. Green 8. One of the nice things about a big set like this is you do get to see a lot of the range here. That's green 8. And I'm just using whatever finger is convenient for each color. And then off to the side, I'm wiping off my hands on a dry paper towel and then on a wet paper towel so that I can get most, if not all, of that dust off. And by wet, I mean damp paper towel. Okay, and then we have green 7. Okay, that's green 7. And it's surprising how far all that dust travels, because I end up getting little bits all over different parts of my hand. This one is green 1, really? Huh. Yeah, I guess we were going down and not up in numbers. Green 1, that's a lovely green. Very lovely green. I think we're getting a little bit more blue in this green as well. Green 1. All right, and then we have, okay, A43. I think A stands for additional in their line. So I think they, you know, had the original numbers for the colors and then they added additional things. This is A43. I'm trying to keep it roughly in an oval shape, but it's not going to work every time, obviously. Oh, that was just the one additional because now we have blue, green, earth, 12. Talk about a color that's right up my alley. That one for sure. And after I rub this in, I think I'm going to tap off whatever dust we have. I'm just tapping it off onto a dry paper towel off to the side. It's a good way to keep things clean. Okay, so now I know how many to do across. I'm going to keep this over here so I can keep track of the rows. So that was blue, green, earth 12. Then we have a blue, green, earth 11. Blue, green, earth 9. And you'll see the color that you get out of the pastel is pretty much the same as what you see in the pastel. The only difference for you is obviously going to be, you know, how colors show up on your screen or on your monitor. And there can be some variation in that for sure. That's a lovely color. Blue greens or green blues are definitely some of my favorites. And uh-oh, I lost count. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Okay, so we have 2 more in this row. This is blue, green, earth 8. Lovely color. Getting into more, a little bit of a pastel-y type color. Had a lot of dust with that one. Blue, green 8. And then we have blue, green 7. Ooh, nice. Another nice pastel-like color. And because I'm wiping my fingers off in between the colors, I'm not transferring one color onto another, which would not let me use this as a color guide, which is what I plan to use it for. I don't know if I mentioned in this video yet, but I do plan to laminate this so that it stays the way it is. All right, so we're moving on to the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th row with blue, green 6. Ooh, we're going into really nice and light. This might be a good like cloud color. And we have blue, green 12. Lovely. All right, blue green 11. Surprised these are still called blue green because they're definitely moving more towards warm, but you know, maybe they're still kind of in the tealy category. As we'll see, we're definitely getting some more in the next colors. We're getting some teal-like colors for sure. And I have to be careful not to keep my hands or my fingers wet because you can see my finger was clearly a little bit wet, so it kind of ground that into the paper. All right, so now we have BG9, which is a lovely, oops, ooh, yeah, okay, this, yeah, sometimes, and I don't know what that is, if it's just like the binder gets a little hardened on one part of it. That was BG9. And then before I go to my next row on the paper, I am also going to tap off the dust here. Okay. BG8 is next. Oops, let me keep these lined up so that I know where my rows are supposed to be. BG8. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, very saturated. BG8, we're going on to BG7. And this is the last of the BGs, so last of the blue greens. We're going to be moving into a different category of blue next. That one's gorgeous. Okay, so this next one is Blue Violet 12. Oh, yeah, see, that can happen. And then you go to the other side and it's just fine. So Blue Violet 12. So we're moving into a warmer blue. That one got a little messy there. Blue Violet. Okay, and then we're moving on to BV11. Again, a little bit scratchier than some of the others, but not too bad. For the most part, these are super smooth. Okay, and then we have BV10. These are just such a lovely color progression. BV10. Okay, BV9. Ooh, and that one's nice and creamy, smooth. BV9. Yeah, all of these here would be nice for skies, because skies tend to be more blue-violet, especially more towards the top of the sky that you're seeing on any particular area. And then it tends to get more cool as you get down to ground level. BV8. Make sure you can see that. When I am getting a little bit of dust here on the bottom of the page. Try to avoid that. It's very hard to keep things clean with pastels and avoid cross-contamination, which is why I am wiping everything down after each one. Okay. And then the last one in this row, and then we'll just have one row left. This is BV7. Very light blue violet. Lovely. And a little bit of pigment goes a long, long way with these. All right, so we're on to the last row in the box. So the first one is gray 28. So this is a very, very light gray. I think we're good now. We don't need that as a guide. I would say that that's almost white. Then we have gray 30. Moving up pretty fast in the progression of grays. That's a lovely gray. Oh, what I didn't do is tap off. Here, let me do that. Because that will keep that a little more clean as well. So that was gray 30. And then we have gray 32. Ooh, nice. I do love a good blue-gray, definitely. Swatches here are not all entirely even, but fairly good. All right, the next one here is gray 34. And I'm gonna have to speed it up a little bit because those emails mean I am needed. Gray 34. And I'm actually, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna swatch out the next ones and then I'm gonna rub them after the fact. This is gray 35. I did have to move things up a little bit. Gray 36. This one's almost black. A49, so that A, like I was talking about earlier, means additional color. And then I have A50. So additional 50. Lovely darks in here. Okay, let's go to the very last row, and we only have 4 left. This is A51. A52. A53. And last but not least, we have A54. So one thing that you don't have in here is like a pure white and a pure black. So I do have those separately, so I wasn't as concerned about that. So what I'm gonna do here, let's go quickly through these and smudge them. Okay. And we'll do this one. love these darks. They're so beautiful. Okay. And here's this one that's almost black. A lot of really good gray colors in here. I love these really dark, sort of leaning towards blue, grays. Very nice. We're going to move down here. And like I was saying earlier, it's really important to have a clean finger when you go into a color, unless of course you're trying to blend colors. All right, two more. And I did leave myself a little less space down here, but that's okay. And then this last one. Another really beautiful light color. And one thing too that's really important is to have a good range of values with these. Okay, I'm going to tap off. All right, and there we go. I'm actually going to try rubbing that one in a little bit more. Same with this one. I feel like we didn't get a lot of saturation there. Okay. All right, so that's going to have to do it for now. And what you're also getting is the texture of the paper. This has a very, very light texture on this. So there we go. Let me get the soft pastel box back onto the table and we'll zoom out again. All right, so there we are with all of those lovely pastels. I'll put a link down below to this set and to the individual soft pastels on Jackson's website. So here we have the last 3 rows here, and then here we have the first 3 rows, and they look, you know, that's a gorgeous color progression. So I'm going to be very careful with these, label them, and then I am going to laminate those so that I can use them as a guide going forward. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed. I just was using this for my own purposes, for reference for this box, and thought you might like to follow along. And this is part 2 of 2. So if you didn't catch part 1 of 2 with the warmer colors, I'll put a link to that down below. All right, take care everyone. Feel free to subscribe to my channel to keep track of future videos. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like. I hope to see you next time, but in the meantime, have a great day. Thanks so much, bye.